Hey guys, today we're driving the 2022 Mazda 3 Premium Plus all-wheel drive turbocharged hatchback. This has a 2.5 liter Skyactiv turbocharged motor, makes 250 horsepower on premium fuel, 227 on regular, 310 pound-feet of torque. It's all-wheel drive. We have a 6-speed automatic transmission. We drove one of these about a year ago, and this same car actually still has Blizzaks on it. It's a different color though. This is Soul Red Metallic. Comes in around $34,400 base MSRP, and as tested, it's about 36 grand. So it's not cheap, a little bit pricey for a hatchback, but Mazda's making a really good case for this as a premium hatchback that competes with the likes of BMWs, Audis, maybe even the Mercedes A-Class. And in some ways, it's better than those competitors. And in other ways, it slots in between those premium brands and the Honda Civic hatchback, and is an alternative to performance options like the Veloster N or the Golf GTI. We've driven a lot of interesting stuff since we tested this Mazda 3 Turbo hatch a year ago. Let's talk about this with some fresh eyes and walk you around it. We'll take it for a drive and give you guys some thoughts on what it's been like to drive this week. First, let's walk you around the exterior. This Mazda 3 Turbo has a slightly different look from the standard Mazda 3. We get this more aggressive chin spoiler up front, just to let you know that it's the slightly quicker, more special Mazda 3. We have black wheels, blacked out mirror caps, and a rear spoiler. And I think this car looks so sharp in this Soul Red Metallic. Got a decent amount of space in the hatchback too. Nice low loading floor. We get a compact spare tire and a Bose amplifier in the back for the Bose premium sound system, which we've tested in the past. Sounds really nice. Like the taillights. Not a huge fan of these black wheels. I feel like Mazda could be doing something a little bit better with the wheel design for how good the rest of this car looks, but I'm not going to complain too much. Back seat is actually very similar to our Mazda CX-30. The space in here is a very similar looking interior design. I think a little bit nicer in some ways. Lots of room under the front seats to put our feet. Decent amount of legroom back here. I'm 5'10". If I sit behind myself, legroom is pretty good. Headroom is a bit limited. I'm about maxed out here at 5'10", and the way this hatchback roof design slopes, I don't think you'd be able to be too comfortable back here if you were over 6 foot. That said though, the front seating space is very nice and roomy, and I just love the design of this interior. It's a very special place, really nice materials, great ergonomics, super usable, functional. I think this is one of the best executions of a minimal luxury interior there are in the automotive world today. It's too bad that Mazda hasn't used this interior in more of their vehicles recently, other than the CX-30. I feel like they were going to update the CX-5 a little bit quicker. The CX-50 is coming out though, and that has a really nice interior too. Egress out of the back, again, a little bit challenging because of the C-pillar here. That also hampers visibility out of the front seats too. Let's take a look under the hood at this 2.5 liter Skyactiv Turbo. Rated for 26 miles to the gallon combined in all-wheel drive form. Should do about 31 plus on the highway, which is pretty good. Really, really nice engine, super reliable, tons of torque. Very heavy hood. All right, we've driven quite a few of these, so we'll keep the walk around short and we'll get out onto the road. So again, very simple center console. Now that we've got a closer look, we have a heated steering wheel, heated seats, no cooled seat option in this Mazda 3 Turbo, and a very nice user interface. So I've lived with the CX-30 for quite a while with this very same scroll wheel. It's actually similar to BMW's iDrive, and I think it is one of the best user interfaces, infotainments in the business. You have great control over everything. They're using an Apple CarPlay. You have some quick access buttons for music, for navigation. You can quickly go home. There are a lot of settings in this Mazda 3 that you can customize and tailor to your specific preferences, which is very nice. The sound system is excellent quality. But nothing is perfect. There are a couple weird quirks with this car. The parking brake comes on every time you turn off the vehicle, and the seatbelt chime when you start it up is super annoying. I actually put my seatbelt on purpose when I started this car up today, just so that it doesn't go off 7 times. It's kind of ridiculous. Otherwise, though, besides those 2 minor complaints, this is an excellent car to live with. We even get a nice little sunroof, place to put our sunglasses. Here are our visors. We've got these that block light. Lots of adjustability for our driving position and our steering wheel tilt angle. We have 2 memory seat settings, a 360 camera, forward and rear facing, which is super nice. And Mazda finally is putting nice high-res camera displays in their cars. All right, let's hop on the road and take this thing for a drive. See what I mean about that C-pillar visibility. So I said in my review last year that this car reminds me of something that an enthusiast would buy if he or she has owned GTIs, maybe a Focus ST, they want something that's a little bit more luxurious, a little more grown up, and maybe understated, more comfortable, a little bit more reliable. This Mazda 3 Turbo really fits that bill. Unfortunately, I don't think it's quite large enough as a family car, but it's an excellent option if you're single or it's just you and a spouse and you just want a nice, solid, fun to drive, comfortable daily driver. The power level here is fantastic. And I think the engine sounds quite good. It's got this really meaty, torquey sound to it, almost like Volkswagen's Sound Dock door back in the day. We have 2 drive modes, normal and sport. Sport basically just kind of changes the transmission programming around. And even though this is all-wheel drive, it still feels like a very front-wheel driven all-wheel drive system. Traction control, though, one of the best systems in the business. Mazda gives you quite a bit of leeway before things kick in, and when they do, you don't even notice it. It's a very hands-off, liberal traction control system, and Mazda does a great job with it. You can turn things off, but most of the time, you don't really need to. You can also hear at speed, 75 miles an hour on the highway, very little wind and road noise. It's a very quiet car at speed. The Mazda 3 used to be so loud on the highway, and they fixed it in this new generation. Comparing it to the Honda Civic, this is a very nice car to cruise in at speed. It's not as loud, especially when you close the sunroof up top. We have a decent radar adaptive cruise control system, lane keep assist, lane centering, not the best, something to work on, but we have a bunch of different following distance settings, all that's very easy to use. We have paddle shifters behind the wheel. The 6-speed is a little bit conservative with some of its downshifts, but for the most part, it gives you the gears that you want. Mazda's really gotten a lot of stuff right with this car. I think where it falls a little bit short is driving enjoyment and thrills. It's not really a hot hatchback, even though it has some of the numbers to warrant hot hatchback status. It's a bit more of a warm hatchback, or lukewarm. It's got lots of power. It's got a good all-wheel drive system to have some fun in the snow with, but it lacks that sharp edge, that really fun, visceral character, and it's a little bit more refined and smoother and more luxurious than you would expect, especially from a company like Mazda. If you're looking for sports car thrills, you're going to want to look at a different option, like maybe a Hyundai Veloster or a GTI or a Miata. Something like this and a Miata in the garage would pretty much be the ideal 2-car garage, in my opinion. Headlights at night are fantastic, really nice visibility. We have easy adjustments for our gauge cluster illumination. And one of my favorite features about this car is the quick access buttons in Apple CarPlay that take you between different apps. I think that is just a fantastic feature. Let's do a quick sound system test here while we're just cruising. Really clear, beautiful bass levels. Unfortunately, we're still on winter tires in this car, just like we were in our last. I haven't really driven one of these yet on a set of performance summer tires or all seasons, so I can't really comment to how this really handles on a good set of rubber. But I will say these Blizzaks do pretty well on the dry, and in the snow, they are pretty unstoppable, especially with this all-wheel drive system. It is fun to use the paddles. This is an excellent 6-speed automatic. Shifts are pretty smooth, and the programming in auto mode is actually really nice. I like this a little bit better than the CX-30's programming. It's a little bit smoother, more refined, better tuned, and seems to just make better gear shifting decisions. I do think this Mazda 3 is one of the better cars that Mazda makes. Definitely one of the more fun besides the Miata. The size is just about right. It's spacious enough on the inside. You lose a little bit of room in the back seat, but if that's not a huge deal for you, you've got a decent hatchback. You can fold the seats down, use everything, all the utility that a hatchback provides. There's also the option for a sedan, though that doesn't come in the turbo. No complaints about ride quality. It's not too stiff. Turn in is nice and sharp. Can definitely adjust the character of the chassis around a corner with inputs with throttle, brake, pedal. Don't think we have the full 250 horsepower in this car today. It feels like we're running on 87 octane. Gas is expensive these days. Sometimes I don't really know what the manufacturer puts in these cars before we get it. Alright guys, so overall, a really nice hatchback, a really nice option in the market still. In 2022, this is definitely one of my favorite options in the hatchback segment. It's a little bit pricier than some of the other options, but it slots in really nicely between great choices like the Honda Civic. If you want something just a little bit more refined, a little bit quieter on the road, a little more luxurious and premium, this is a fantastic option. And if you don't want to spend the extra coin for a Mercedes or BMW or an Audi, this I think drives as well, if not better than some of those options, and for a lot less money. So, you know, it depends on what you're looking for. This is not the fiery front-wheel drive torque steering hot hatch of the past that we were all kind of hoping for, unfortunately. But if you adjust your expectations, this is a really, really cool car, and I think it has a very unique spot in the market because it kind of splits the difference between budget and premium. And Mazda's going a little bit more premium these days, and I honestly really like what they're doing. I'm driving the Mazda CX-50 at the end of this month, and I'm super excited to see what direction that car is going. We really enjoyed our Mazda CX-30. We owned that for a little over a year, and it ended up just being a little bit small for us starting a new family. We needed a large family vehicle, and but we still miss that car. It was really fun to drive. I think this Mazda 3 drives a lot better in some respects. The gearbox, the engine tuning is a little bit more refined. The ride quality is really nice. This Mazda 3 just feels very massaged and very refined, and I think it's one of the best cars they make. It's too bad that hatchbacks are kind of on the way out. Most people are going for crossovers and SUVs, because I think this makes a very compelling argument for a nice small car as a daily driver. Watch out, Mr. Squirrel. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I will see you guys in the next video, and giving you just a little bit of a night drive in this Mazda 3 today too. Showing you what the gauge cluster looks like. That's going to be it for this one. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Thanks for watching. Also, another new thing about new Mazdas: stinky brakes. Think about the pad compound they use. Smells for about 2,000 miles.